Welcome back to Left. Hope everybody had a great week, and it's time for the first edition of the weekly recap, where I share 3 stories from the world of labor in the past week. Let's get into it. And our first story, no surprise here, Starbucks is in the news again after workers have voiced disapproval regarding the company's approach to Pride celebrations for the month of June, which could lead to striking activity at over 150 of Starbucks' US-based stores. In a statement put out by new Starbucks CEO Laxman Narasimhan, as well as Executive Vice President of North America Sarah Trilling, Starbucks does appear to take an unequivocal approach in support of Pride Month and celebrations across its stores. In the statement, Starbucks says, as we have consistently done in celebration of our heritage months, we proudly raise the Progress Pride flag atop our Starbucks support center and in thousands of our stores across the country. Raising the Pride flag continues to be one of our proudest traditions. We do this each year on behalf of our partners around the world to affirm the diversity of our LGBTQIA2+ community and as a call for more inclusive society, a call we have made since our founding. However, this is where you may need to read between the lines, because Starbucks goes on to say, we want to be crystal clear. Starbucks has been and will continue to be at the forefront of supporting the LGBTQIA2+ community, and we will not waver in that commitment. Despite today's public commentary, there has been no change to any of our policies as it relates to our inclusive store environments, our company culture, and the benefits we offer our partners. But here's the line that I think is drawing the most criticism. We continue to encourage our store leaders to celebrate with their communities, including for US Pride Month in June, as we always have. And so I think Starbucks is saying, in response to criticism from its workers, that it is a store-by-store decision as far as the extent to which employees and locations should be participating in Pride Month or adorning the store with Pride-related decorations. And this is the part that is drawing the most criticism from employees as well as their union representatives at Starbucks Workers United, because they believe that Starbucks should take a more proactive and critical approach to any stores that have chosen not to participate in this month's celebrations. The union is also alleging that the company has changed its enforcement of the dress code and decoration policies out of fear that union paraphernalia would become rampant across its US stores. And so while Pride expression and celebration may be the catalyst for next week's planned work stoppages, workers and union representatives themselves are acknowledging that these strikes are also about Starbucks' overall response to the organizing activity that has taken place over the last couple of years. And while I don't have a dog in this fight, I do want to acknowledge that my friend got me this Starbucks mug from Shenyang, China, Starbucks location, and it's a great mug. Our next story involves the men and women in brown over at UPS. UPS and the Teamsters have been in collective bargaining over a new master contract covering UPS employees across the US. Negotiations over the master level agreement began in April of this year, and since that time, a lot has happened. The parties have agreed to terms on 55 separate non-economic issues, but still, in the last 2 weeks, workers over at UPS voted overwhelmingly in favor of a strike authorization, by 97% voting in favor of a potential strike if UPS and the Teamsters are not able to come to a full agreement by the contract expiration date on July 31st. In reference to the strike, Teamster General President Sean O'Brien said, "We will leave everything on the field. We have to be united. We are setting a tone for the entire labor movement in the country." And while UPS is optimistic about the ability for both parties to get a deal done before the deadline, economic negotiations did not get off to a great start this week. The Teamsters presented an aggressive initial first economic proposal on Wednesday, June 21st, to which the company responded with an economic counterproposal of their own the very next day. And suffice it to say, the Teamsters were not happy with the company's counterproposal. In a tweet released on June 22nd by Teamster General President Sean O'Brien, he says, "Our committee and more importantly our members don't have the patience for bullshit proposals like the one UPS gave today. If the company wants to negotiate a contract for 1997 working conditions, they're going to get 1997 consequences." Referring, of course, to the last time UPS workers went on strike back in 1997, when 185,000 UPS employees participated in the work stoppage, which the New York Times reported as, quote, largely crippling the world's largest package delivery company. Today, the Teamsters represent over 340,000 package delivery drivers and warehouse logistics workers nationwide, so a strike could certainly prove all the more disruptive to UPS operations today. And in our last story of the week, Apple joins the fray as a US Labor Board judge determines that Apple illegally subjected employees to coercive interviews and interfered with the distribution of union leaflets at one of its flagship Apple stores at the World Trade Center in New York City back in May of 2022. Judge Lauren Esposito determined that an Apple manager coercively questioned an employee at that Apple store in New York City by asking how he felt about the organizing drive that was unfolding at their location. Esposito also determined that Apple acted unlawfully by removing union flyers from one of the Apple break rooms. Apple argued that the distribution and abandonment of these flyers in the break room constituted violations of both the solicitation policy as well as Apple's cleanliness standards. However, the judge was not sympathetic to these arguments. And this finding represents the first time that the NLRB has ruled against Apple. The decision can be appealed to the National Labor Relations Board in Washington or the Federal Court of Appeals. Thank you for watching this week's inaugural edition of the Weekly Recap. I do hope to see you in the next video. Take care.